I believe that the fires we're cast upon are the flames we shall become. I believe in a common calling where our temples pray as one. I believe in the word of wonder and a kingdom for the saved.
So Larry Pollock and Leo Mayhofer were here on the Underground Performance Gym podcast. We've got some exciting things to talk to you about today. Some breaking news in the bodybuilding world. And I'm going to save the best for last, what I think. But there's some stuff that you're going to all want to hear. And then afterwards, we'll do a live Q&A as well.
Okay, let's
tuned in.
Let's get into it right away, right?
Yep.
First,
so
I'll share this because Derek made a, well, you'll see if it's an announcement or what it is. You can decide for yourself. So that was it.
Oh, it didn't play. Play it again.
That's what he said.
It didn't play. Wasn't added to stage. Added to stage. Redo it.
Oh, you didn't see it?
I did, but I saw it after he said it. It was too short. Here we go.
Come on.
I can't hear anything. Can you?
He said, "Is Derek Lunsford doing Pittsburgh Pro?" That's
yeah. Well, anyways, Derek posted on his story, "Am I doing Pittsburgh Pro?" And he left it with a question mark. So he kind of left it as a teaser, like not confirming that he is, but hinting that he might.
I think he's going to do it because look at his smile, his grin, and he's like, I don't know. I think it looks like he wants to do it, and he's like just like loves the trolling. I don't know, but to me it seems like, oh man, guys, I'm going to jump in. That's going to be fun.
From what I know of him, I don't know of him to be like a bullshitter type of dude. I think he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. So if he's putting it out there, he's probably going to do it.
That would be fun.
The question is, okay, number one, is it a good move for Derek to do it? That's a controversial question, depending on who you ask.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And the other question is, how does that affect the rest of the lineup? So first of all, Derek came off the Olympia. He was off at the Olympia, went from first to third, as we know, came back and came in top shape at the Arnold, fixed his problems, filled out his legs, and crushed it at the Arnold, beating Samson Dada and everybody else. And so right now he's on top of the world. And the question is, if he stays and competes in another, 8 more weeks? Basically, we got to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, a little less, I think. A little less. Yeah, maybe
so
8. Maybe 8.
So if he does another 8 more weeks of prep, is that going to interfere with his Olympia prep? Some people say, doing too many competitions prior to going to the Olympia might hamper him coming in 100% at the Olympia. Ronnie Coleman, one year he did the in 2001 he did the Arnold Classic, and he blamed doing the Arnold Classic for coming not 100% at the Olympia in 2001, and that's where Jay Cutler technically almost beat him and maybe should have beat him. It was Jay Cutler was actually leading after the prejudging, and Ronnie said basically doing the Arnold hurt him going into there. And I can understand that because, Ronnie being as big as he was, he probably needed a full off season, and the peaking process was a lot harder for him at his size. With somebody like Derek, not that Derek's small, but Derek's not a 300-pound guy. He's like 40 something pounds. So I think at his size,
he can peak more often.
He can peak more often and not necessarily screw him up.
Yeah.
I think it's probably easier for him to stay in a low body fat and not really kill himself to get in shape. And actually, this is something when I was at the Arnold, right after he got off competing, he was backstage and he was waiting for Palumbo to interview him for RX Muscle, and someone was asking him if he wants something to eat, and he said, man, I've been eating so much. He says, I can't even eat anymore. He said, Chris just kept telling him, eat more, eat more, eat more. He said he ate a whole bag of granola before going on stage. Mm-hmm. And he said he was eating so many rice cakes, and I guess he wasn't drinking water, that it was cutting the inside of his mouth, eating the rice cakes because his mouth was so dry. But he said he didn't even want to go out and eat after the show, really, because he was stuffed. Because Chris was like feeding him. Sense to me. It makes perfect sense to me, and I'll tell you why.
But 1 second, like, if you feed someone carbs over carbs over carbs without any water, like, where are they going to go? Your stomach is going to be like, what the fuck's going on?
He said his stomach was hurting, but somehow he was still digesting.
See, I didn't even know he said that, but it was like, that's logic. That's why these people oftentimes they're like, well, I had this problem at my last show. I just couldn't shit, and I ate so much and I didn't drink. And yeah, sure, you can't shit if you eat a ton and you don't drink. I mean, I don't know why people still do that. I mean, you have to keep eating a little bit if you're an open bodybuilder. You can't just fast all day, of course not. But I don't know. That was probably overkill.
There's a phenomenon that happens, and I've done this to myself, mm-hmm. and I know what it is. So when you're doing everything for comp, getting in prep, you start, with the cardio and then whatever fat burners you're using, clenbuterol and the gear and everything else, plus thyroid and whatever else you're on, your metabolism starts going so fast, you just start burning through calories like crazy. Mm. I've done this myself. I've gone to a prep where, like, I could not eat enough. I just kept eating. And like, even for weeks after the show, I'd still be eating and I'd still be shredded because you're just burning through everything. Your metabolism just goes crazy. And I'm sure he's like that. And that's why he was flat at the last Olympia, because he wasn't eating enough. And Chris was telling him, you got to eat more to fill out. And maybe he was just sipping some water, but not drinking a lot. Or maybe he cut water like right before, I don't know. But, he just kept eating. He said he was eating constantly, so much food before that. And his stomach was flat. You saw that his stomach was flat and small. So obviously, it wasn't sitting in his stomach. He was digesting that stuff. But he said he ate a whole bag of granola. So much, He ate a whole bag of granola before going on stage. And there's an old trick that I learned from what's that? George Farah used to use with his athletes. He used to have his athletes, while they're backstage before the show, eat dry oatmeal. And I saw one of his competitors, I can't think of the name of him, black guy. Okay. He was eating the dry oatmeal with no water. Okay. And it's like chewing sawdust, literally.
Yeah.
But what happens is the dry oatmeal goes into your intestine and it absorbs the fluid in your intestines and it shrinks your stomach. So you're not even, whatever fluid's in your intestine, it just sucks it in. I don't even know if you're digesting that oatmeal. It because you're
naturally
barely,
gonna sit there. But
it's
he's
probably
probably
just sitting there.
didn't have him eat much of that just to absorb it, huh?
Well, I don't know, but I remember seeing, I can't remember the name of this black guy, but he had the craziest vacuum I've ever seen. He was able to like wiggle his midsection around and everything.
Mhm.
I saw him turn pro at North America's when this happened, and he was just sitting backstage with the dry oatmeal, just like eating it.
Mhm.
I don't know how much of it he actually ate, but he was doing that. I've tried it, but like, yeah, you can't eat much of it because your mouth is so dry, and but whatever you can get down, basically.
Yeah.
But it does work. It sucks the fluid out of your intestines into the oatmeal like a sponge and absorbs it. But anyways, with Derek's metabolism being as fast as it is, coming off of this Arnold, I imagine it would not be very hard for him just to stay in contest shape or real close to it for the next 8 weeks and just go right into the show pretty much the same.
Yeah, the question is just if he wants to improve for the Olympia. It's tough. It's a tough call because the other guys can make up some ground and keep improving, and he's skipping like 10, 12 weeks in total.
Well,
Yeah, but maybe if he's really in shape and he's like almost maintaining, he can actually improve. So I'll take that back. I'll take that back. If he's like really on point, he can improve for like 8 weeks and then dial it down for another 4. And then also he's in a better starting position because the other guys will be way fatter after Pittsburgh. Like a Samson Dauda will not be as much in shape. So yeah,
well, the other thing is he's already as big as he needs to be.
yeah,
He doesn't have to put on any more size. For his structure and frame, he's as big as he needs to be to win. He doesn't need to outmass Samson or Nick. He wins
yeah.
basically on structure and the way he's put together. He's not as big as those guys, but he looks as big as them just because of the way he's built. So he doesn't necessarily need, when you say improve, if he comes in exactly the same way as he did at the Arnold,
Mm.
I think he's going to be really hard to beat for anybody. So what does he really need to improve over that?
Yeah. I mean, he should. Derek needs to improve his chest still, I would say, and a little bit
Yeah,
maybe
but I'm
his legs.
saying
But
is he going to make a significant improvement over the Arnold between now and the next Olympia?
could be. I mean, I don't know. Like if you look at what Samson and Andrew Jacked uh, put on between two shows that were like 6, 7 months apart, that's insane.
Right.
So he could make some significant. Martin Fitzwater's the same. These guys are all so crazy good. They put on muscle like I was when I was a newbie. It's insane. And
It's
then
interesting
someone
that
tell me there's no genetics, right?
but it's interesting when they've already peaked at the top of their, they're already pros and now they're all of a sudden improving.
Yeah,
And
it's
I was
crazy,
I
huh?
was wondering, why do you think that is? I have an idea.
You go with your idea. I have to meditate over it.
Okay, it's not drugs
Yeah,
because they've already used all the drugs before,
I
so
think
they're
so
not
too. Yeah.
they're not using any new drugs. It's not training because they're probably training the same way they always have. It's not the nutrition necessarily. Although I'm not saying that couldn't improve, but I'm not saying it's specifically that. What I think it is, it's their ability to live their lifestyle the way they need to, because now they're in a position of having more resources. In
That
other
could be.
words, in other words, prior to them getting to that status, they had to, worry about making money and, paying bills and, whatever stuff in life that the rest of us have to contend with. And now they're at a point where, they've got all these sponsorships and everything coming in, and their only thing that you have to worry about in life is bodybuilding. That's it. So they eat, sleep, and drink bodybuilding all day long. And if all you have to do in life is get up and go to the gym and train and eat and sleep, and you don't have to think about anything else, that alone, and no stress of having to worry about income or whatever, that alone is going to make everything better.
What would there's one point that would be a counter argument to that is they're probably traveling way more than they ever did, especially the top guys. Not a Hadi Chupan. He always stays with his ass in Iran. But the like Derek's like he's on the go all the time. He's
Well,
gonna
hold
go to
on a second.
Vivo, you know.
Let's qualify that.
Mhm.
He did that before the last Olympia, and Sean Ray even said doing all that appearances all the time might have hurt his Olympia prep.
Mhm.
Before this Arnold prep, he didn't travel anywhere.
Exactly, but now he's doing it again. So I don't know.
He's doing it again, but he might shut it down before the Olympia.
Yeah, yeah. I would like if the Olympia. That's the cool thing about the Olympia having way more prize money now. They like it really pays off if you shut it down. You're not like forced that much if you're a top contender. If you win 600K, you're not forced that much to do all this little things that yes, it adds up. But if you can get 600,000 payday and you live in Florida, which where the taxes are better, and you can maybe pay it into your LLC or whatever, then it's pretty good. So yeah, it's both things. I always think that with Urs, Urs is always everywhere. It's like Jesus Christ, that guy lives on an airplane. I'm like, how the hell do you get better? And he gets better, and he gets so big, and he has to sacrifice so much muscle. He's in such great shape. He could compete 20 pounds overweight. So yeah, I'm thinking that with the other guys, it might be the same. But yeah, I think Samson is also not the biggest traveler, right? I don't know. I don't think he has done much.
Yeah, I'm saying
We'll
without
see.
having to worry about all the other obligations, they're able to just sit back and train and eat and just focus on bodybuilding. So it's not a new drug formula, it's not a new training formula, it's not a new eating formula. It's just a matter of having the time to just do nothing but bodybuild and not worry
Yeah.
about it. You know, they could
Maybe
sleep as much.
also, yeah, maybe also having less stress because they're financially better off now, these guys,
That's
you
what I'm
know?
saying. The whole lifestyle thing.
Yeah. Yeah, but also they don't have to think about, like you said, other things like making too much money. Like they're better like covered now from the sponsors and from prize money and everything. Like Samson won so much prize money, he wouldn't need a sponsor unless I don't know, unless he lives like some movie star.
Well,
But he
like
doesn't, I think.
before Martin competed in what were he did New York and he competed. He won a show right before that where he beat
Detroit, good veto.
Vito. Okay, before that he was working construction
Yeah,
and bodybuilding.
insane, huh?
Okay, so keep this in mind. He's working construction. That's meant hard manual labor,
Yeah,
and then bodybuilding on top of that in contest prep, getting ready for a contest. Okay, he doesn't have to
insanity.
do that now.
But
So
he
that,
wouldn't have to do any cardio. But yeah,
maybe not. Well, he doesn't
that's
do
probably
cardio
the
anyways.
reason. It's probably the reason why he got so much better in such a fast, like short amount of time. But
Yeah,
let's discuss the scenario because we will have like everyone says it's a three people fight, but I'm still not counting out Gavito really, like totally. I mean, if Derek is in there, Derek should win, but we have good Vito, we have Martin, and we have Nick. Then at Pittsburgh, that would be insane. The only thing that could be is that the Manions were like, dude, we need this show to get huge. We need everyone to be there. Just tease it. You don't have to show up, but tease it. Make our show like talked about more. It could be that they asked him for
I
it, and
don't
he's like,
think
what can he say? No, I'm not going to do it.
I don't think Derek would do that though. I don't. I just from what I know of him, I
Mhm.
think if he says he's going to do it, he's going to do it.
Well, he didn't say really that he's going to do it.
No, I know, but I don't think he'd even. I don't think he'd even bring it up unless he was seriously considering doing it. And it
Yeah,
could be that they could maybe the Manions asked him, "Hey, do our show. You're already in shape. Why don't
yeah,
you do our
yeah.
show?" And see for Samson to do it, it would probably hurt his Olympia prep because Samson's a much bigger guy. Being close to 300 pounds, he needs that time off to recover from the preps before he goes into Olympia. Probably if he does another show, he probably would have a hard time peaking for the Olympia. And he needs to come in. He needs to come in more conditioned at the Olympia than he did at this one.
Yeah,
Obviously, to beat Derek. So
yeah,
he knows he needs.
He's not going to
beat
beat
Hottie,
Hottie like
right?
that.
So he knows he needs to take that break. But Derek, I don't think he needs to. He could pull it off.
Yeah.
He could come in looking like he did at the Arnold, win Pittsburgh, and go. Imagine if he wins Pittsburgh after the Olympia. After winning the Arnold. Can you imagine that momentum he's going to have going into the Olympia? He just beat everybody except for Hottie.
Yeah.
If he does that.
That's true.
Now
he's the number one for sure then.
Yeah. Because right now he's beat Sanson. If he goes in Pittsburgh and he wins that, he just beat Martin and he beat Nick also. Plus everybody else. Oh, who else is coming into there is Crizzo. And I heard he's looking crazy right now.
Yeah, is Crizzo doing Pittsburgh? I asked that. I'm not sure.
He's doing Pittsburgh.
Oh my God, he's also doing Pittsburgh. Jesus, that's amazing.
He took last year off. He had a shoulder surgery. And now that his shoulder's fixed, he's back to training 100%. And they said he's looking better than ever.
Look at this, man. 1 second. Jesus friggin' Christ. That's not even funny. Here. See that? What the heck?
Here, let me put it up. Hold on. Yep.
That's crazy.
He looks huge and shredded.
Look, just sitting there. Oh my God, that looks like it's not real. That doesn't look real.
He looks insane, right?
Yeah, and his legs look huge too. Look at his legs. They look way improved.
What about his back?
That's the big question.
Yeah, because he's always from the front looks great, crazy.
What about still, his back was never bad. It was just a little narrow, but he had good detail. So if he puts a little more size on the back, it could still look pretty good. It's not going to be Derek's, of course, but he can beat Derek in a ab and thigh shot. He could beat Derek in a most muscular shot. He could beat Derek in a front double. I don't know. I like Crizzo a lot. I think he's really good shots. His legs tend to look a little smaller from the side.
Yeah,
because he has no glutes too. It looks kind of weird. He has no glutes, so we'll see. But I think he could be improved. Like this, his legs never looked like this.
But I don't think from the back unless we see some crazy.
No.
From the back.
But we have 8 poses. That's I'm saying.
Yeah.
We'll see.
From the back and the side, I don't think he can do it. But who knows? And then so Martin is now 20 pounds heavier at the same stage in his contest prep as he was last year.
Sick.
So he's going to be bigger and probably crazy conditioned too. Martin's not going to come off. He's going to be shredded.
Yeah.
So he's going to give Derek a run for his money. And then Nick, he's the huge question mark that everybody's like, what's Nick going to be able to do? He's got all the size in the world. We know he can get conditioned. The question is, if he's the biggest, most conditioned one on stage, does he still beat those guys?
He has to be 100% and has to keep his stomach in and pose perfect. And then he can beat everyone if they're not on point. But he has to, hope for that to happen. I don't think him improving so much. I don't think he could improve so much that everyone would come at 100% and he would beat them. So I think he has to be a little lucky. But he's very consistent with getting conditioned. So more than anyone else, I would almost say. So the odds are not horrible, but still, it should be Derek. But I'm still so stoked to see Good Vito and Crizzo. That's gonna be interesting, man, because they have also this really nice quality muscle. There's no blur. There's all these, the details and all the striations and all the deep cuts, the separation between the bicep and the tricep, like sliced.
Hmm.
So the brachialis, like in your face, like you see all the detail from the shoulder on these guys. They're like, it's like real muscle. It's insane. So I'm looking forward to it, man. But it's hard to tell.
So right now, Derek's already qualified, obviously. Martin's qualified from Prague. Nick still needs to qualify for the Olympia.
That's true, yeah.
He has to win either Pittsburgh or New York.
Or
If he
keep going.
doesn't, he still has to keep going to qualify for the Olympia.
Who else will do New York? Didn't Martin also say he's going to do New York? I don't know.
I don't. I know
I
he was
bet
doing Pittsburgh. I don't know about
I
New
bet
York.
Good Vito is going to do New York 100%, and Crizzo will do New York too. These two guys, if they do Pittsburgh, they'll keep going. It's so close. It's 1 week
It's a week
later.
apart.
Like,
They might as
why
well.
wouldn't you? Yeah, they come from Europe to go back. No way. That'd be so dumb. They're going to do both shows, 100%.
Martin might
Just
also do it. I mean,
yeah,
if I was going to do it, even if I was Derek, like, what's another week?
yeah. If Derek does Pittsburgh, imagine he does Pittsburgh, and then he even does New York, and these guys are all like, "Damn, we don't get our ticket." That'd
I
be
mean,
funny.
what is it? What's another week to if you're already
Yeah,
there? It's just one more week,
yeah.
and
I mean, it's almost half a week.
it's very close by. They don't have to travel very far. They can stay right in the area.
Yeah, it's very close. It's even New Jersey, so you can fly to the Newark airport,
Yes,
which
Crizzo's
is
doing Pittsburgh. People keep asking,
it,
Crizzo's doing
yeah,
Pittsburgh. Yes, he is.
and it's even cheaper. So that's gonna be good, man.
Yeah. So this is like almost like a mini. This is like another Arnold almost, with a few different people in there. Basically Arnold, you had Derek going against Samson, and now you have possibly Derek going against Nick and Martin and Crizzo and Good Vito, and whoever else is doing it.
Yeah, I know people that are gonna do it, but but it's great to compare yourself if you're an open pro and you get the chance to stand next to all these guys that you usually only get maybe at the Arnold's and at the Olympia. That's your chance to see where you stand too. You
Right.
you will never get that chance unless you qualify for the Olympia, basically, usually. So this is a big chance for them. A friend of mine who I used to coach, his name is Justin Musial. He's going to do New York and Pittsburgh. And he grew like insane. He won the pro card last year. Um, I mean, you can't see much on his Instagram, I think, but yeah, the guy is super young. Let me share it. He's super young. He's 25. Oh my God. Present, share screen, allow, share. Do you see everything?
Oh, here we go.
You see it?
Now, yes.
So yeah,
Oh, I
that's
saw this guy. He's crazy.
yeah, he's
Big.
25. I used to coach him. I was one of his first coaches. I think I was his last coach before his coach now. Yeah. His coach now is really knowledgeable, really, really, really knowledgeable. That's him with Martin.
He's huge.
Yeah. And he was pretty off season there, so yeah, he's not small and he's getting better and better. So and Martin
Is
was
that
like that was
recent?
right.
Is that
That was
recent picture
no,
of him,
no,
Martin?
that was pretty much look, that was right after the Olympia. So Martin was in really good shape still. And he was off
Yeah.
season. Look, Martin, you see everything here. So
Yeah.
And that with that in mind, it's even better. So I'm really looking forward to him competing. That's going to be very interesting.
Like you said, for a guy like him to stand in that lineup is pretty good.
Yeah, that's going to be. I mean,
If you
and
get,
it's
if
so
you get,
cool. No one's gonna, think of him winning or expecting anything of him. So he can just have fun, have the best time of his life. And if he beats
Mhm.
one of the guys he shouldn't beat, it's a win. So it's pretty
Yeah,
cool. I'm the
if
same
he
way right now. No
if
one
he gets
expects me to do anything. I can just, chill.
right, if he gets the comparisons, that's the thing.
Yeah. But I mean, the numerical ones he will stand next to someone.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, he will do that. So,
Crizzle might be
anyways,
next to him with his last name. Crizzle could be Lunsford. Oh my God. Lunsford is right next to his last name. LM. So if Nick competes, he's right next to, if Derek competes, he's right next to Derek. That's going to be good. Yeah.
that's exciting for the other guys as well. But yeah, Pittsburgh, and they're talking about next year even raising prize money higher in Pittsburgh to draw more because they're going to have an expo this year as well. So I think they're really trying to. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Manions did put it out there. Hey, come compete in our show. You know,
Yeah. Let me
and
see what the Pittsburgh prize money is. Wasn't it 120
200.
total or something?
I think it was 200,000 total.
Oh, and 120 for the winner?
I'm not sure. Someone said 200,000, but I don't know if that was total or for the winner.
I think it was total. I
Total,
think the winner was at 120, which is huge anyways. Like the New York Pro does 30 or 35.
right?
So, okay, I'm on the website, but I don't see anything here. I see sponsors, schedule, hotel, but they have like everyone sponsoring them, it's pretty big. Wolfpack, everyone there, Better Bodies, Raw, Gasp, Dark Sport, Evogen, Protan. Yeah, they got everyone on Labrada.
Well, it's Manion's show. Of course they do.
Yeah, everyone has to come. You're like, you sponsor our show or what? They were like, how much are you gonna give us? You're like, oh shit, you got to give the man something.
And you got to have a booth at our expo.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, but it's gonna be fun, man. It's good for bodybuilding. However they did it, it's good for bodybuilding. I don't care.
yeah.
Yeah,
So let's. Anyways, that's going to be exciting, and we'll keep you as we get closer to Pittsburgh. We'll keep updated with as
yeah,
things progress and we learn more and see more photos and things, progress photos, people going into the show. Next week is I think it's Detroit Pro is next weekend.
yeah. Detroit. So there's Sasha Irati is coming. He was really good at the New York Pro like years ago when
Right.
Sergio Oliva won, and Sergio Oliva said Sash should have won. He said that even, and Sash got sixth place, and Sergio said he should have won. Well, last year I think he went against Bonac and was fourth, and Bonac won against Tabani, or he was second to Tabani. In that show, they switched one time. So it's probably going to be Bonac against Sasha Arati at the Detroit Pro. I think that's the number one guys there. There's our favorite is coming again, Carlos Thomas Jr. But we don't know if he's going to be in shape. Like he disappointed
Yeah.
a little bit with the Arnold. So
Well, I don't think we've ever seen him in that kind of condition yet at any show.
yeah,
So
then it's going to be way different story.
yeah.
But they're putting
Well,
on a great show. They have Sid Faruqi as MC. So
mhm.
the super nice guy from RX. I love the guy. He's such a cool guy, and he's really good at MCing. He's really the master of ceremonies. Also, they have James Hollingshead there. Of course, Samson Dauda will be there attending, and Martin Fitzwater because they're sponsored by Hostile. And I think what's actually like way more interesting is going to be the classic division because there's Wesley Vissers and Matt Grego. And I think a third guy was saying he's going to compete. Who was that? Some third guy who's also really, really good, also a classic, wanted said he would compete. So the classic show is going to be very tough and very interesting. Oh, Valentin Petrov, you know him?
No.
I can pull him up. He is so good. I think he's one of the guys that looks the most like Mike Sommerfeld. He's the yeah, you can compare him the most. He's the most similar to Sommerfeld. So that's him.
Oh yeah, this guy.
He looks really good. That's right now.
Well,
Look at the legs, huge.
yep.
So I think he can actually win Detroit. I think he could beat Wesley Vissers and Grego. I think he like to be honest, I think he has a better physique than Grego. I don't know if he's going to show that. I don't know who's going to be in better shape, but I would say technically he should beat both of these guys because structurally and muscularly he has less weaknesses than both of those guys. But you know, in classic, it's all shape conditioning. It's like 95% and you can stay home.
So let's
You yeah.
move on to the topic that. Well, first of all, Leo's competing tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell
Jumping
a
in.
little?
I was like actually not really planning on competing. I was like in prep, and I had the show like right next door in Anaheim here. So I'm like, okay, let's jump in. Let's do a warm up show. I haven't done a show in like 2.5 years, so let's get my feet wet again and see what's going on. I still have some ankle water, so I barely made weight. I had to take all my clothes off, so I weighed in 218. But I should be probably about 212. But I have ankle water, so I'm gonna actually, for the first time in my whole life, take a full diazide tonight. Usually I take half, and I'll look way drier tomorrow. And I tested last Saturday to Sunday where it took like a third, and it made a big difference in my look overnight. So, um, and I don't know, I feel at the moment I can do whatever I want. I can always get a pump. So therefore, I'm not too concerned that I will not be able to get a pump or not look full enough. But we'll see. That's how the warm up show, and that's what it's supposed to be like learning my body again. Because it like I react way different than 3 years ago, and that's also something that people might underestimate. Just because you had a winning formula one time doesn't mean 10 years later you can do the same thing and it will work
Right.
the same. Your microbiome can change, anything can change. All the there's so many
Well, your whole
matrices
body
like
changes.
yeah, there's so many I mean your cells regenerate completely, I think after 7 years. So you're kind of a different person after 7 years. That was initially why these natural bodybuilding federations had this. Now it's lifetime drug free, but they used to have the rule that you were not allowed to have used steroids or any like performance enhancing drugs for 7 years, and the 7 years were made up from the cell um, death and regeneration. Um, yeah, I don't know if I don't. I don't think that's actually that accurate because I feel the satellite cells and the muscle memory can stay longer than 7 years. Like if you look at a Lebroni, he doesn't train for 10 years and blows up like that. That's that's still memory, and that's still from being enhanced too. So
Yeah, but even his comeback was nothing like when he competed before that.
no, but I mean he was 50 what and he was like doing nothing for years. The
Right.
amount he put on in that short a time is insanity at 50 something.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then
So
he got he got also drier at the same time. He put on muscle and lost fat.
well, he was known for doing that. He did that
Yeah.
through his whole career.
Yeah.
So let's get into the burning topic of the steroid industry.
Yeah.
That now, first of all, I just want to state that I will not put this out if I didn't know what was going on. I'm not just throwing out bullshit. So you guys might want to listen up. Someone said if RFK Jr. makes steroids legal, there won't be a shortage at all. Well, you can like hold your breath and wait for that, because that's probably not going to happen anytime soon.
And that would also only happen if we would make the Raws. If it's legal and the Raws don't come in, no one cares if it's legal.
Yeah.
How many things during COVID were illegal that we had a shortage on because they wouldn't come in? So that argument is a non-argument.
So let me tell you what's really going on.
No.
Vigorous Steve announced about a month ago on his podcast that Bayer, which is a pharmaceutical manufacturer, was discontinuing Primobolan. And they didn't say why. They were just discontinuing manufacturing of Primobolan. And then I just heard on Skip's, what is that broadcast with Skip LaCar?
Yeah, I don't know the name. Yeah.
Anyways, there's three guys that Skip and two other guys that they also mentioned now a shortage of Primobolan coming from China as well.
Is that with Scott McNally?
Scott McNally, yes. I forgot the name of their podcast.
Think Big Media.
Yep,
Big Media.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
So he mentioned a shortage of Primobolan as well. And this is now come straight from China. So I did made some calls, talked to some people, because I still know the people that are like behind the scenes. And there's 5 manufacturers of the Raws in China. And I'm not sure if this is true, but they're saying that the Primobolan, some people were getting sick from it. Some people were getting sepsis. And so the company, the manufacturer that was making the Primobolan decided to discontinue Primobolan, period. Okay. I don't know who got sepsis, or I don't know who got sick or anything like that, but this was the story of why they were not making Primobolan. But here's what I did find out that is for sure. It's not just Primobolan. There have been no Raws coming in since last November.
Oh, really?
All. None.
Jesus.
Since last November. No Raws. They're all back ordered. They're still able to get peptides and HGH because they're made from something else, a different manufacturing thing. But for whatever reason, China is, and this is not the U.S. stopping it, China has decided not to ship any more Raws to the United States. I don't know if this has to do with the tariffs.
No, hopefully not.
I don't know why. I don't know what their reasoning is. Maybe it has something to do with the fentanyl. You know, maybe the same manufacturers that make fentanyl make steroids. I don't know. But for whatever reason, they're not shipping Raws to the United States. So here's what's going to happen in short order. And trust me, I've lived through this, so I know. Because this is not the first time. But for a lot of people, this is going to be a wake-up call. Because you've never lived through, like Leo, you've never lived through a period where there was no gear. Because, you know, since after Raw Deal and the internet and everything, you know, there's not been a shortage of gear. And now there's so much on the market, you know, everybody and their brother was selling it on Facebook and Instagram. You know, I mean, it's everywhere. However, the people that I know, they're connected directly to the biggest sources in China, and they've not been able to get any Raws since last November. Now, they're fully stocked up right now, so they've got a good supply to last for a while. But for the people that aren't, most of these smaller steroid manufacturers, they're not going to have any raws. When this happens, there's going to be two things that happen. There's going to be a shortage. What that means is demand goes up, supply is down, prices are going to go way up fast. You can bet that prices will double, triple in the next several months on everything. And there's going to be a whole lot of fake shit. Because what happens is those people that can't get the raws, they don't just go out of business. They just start making fake shit.
Oh,
Unfortunately.
yeah, probably.
Yeah, they can't get real stuff. So they a lot of them start making fake shit. Because the demand is there and the price is going to go skyrocketing.
Yeah.
So there'll be a lot of fake stuff. Guaranteed that. This happened after Dr. Cohen. It's happened many times, but actually, I remember like in the 80s, we're getting the real pharmaceutical stuff, and you could get the real pharmaceutical stuff from all over the world, and so things were pretty prevalent. And then through the 90s, it wasn't too bad either. But when Dr. Cohen took over and he started supplying most of the U.S. market with quality vet and Dankel and Animal Power. And then when they shut him down, everything was dry. Everything was dry. And what I mean by that, there was nothing. There was just nothing. You couldn't get gear for shit. I mean, unless you had a big supply of, and that happened so fast, no one knew. So like people didn't stock up because we were just like, no one knew. And so all of a sudden, that's how I got started, because I was training with Scott Mendelson, and I started making the Trembloum out of the pellets, the animal pellets, the cow pellets, and that's how I started and I was just making it for us. I wasn't making it to sell it. I was just making it for us to do it, And then I used to go down to Mexico and buy quality vet and Dankel and all that. And then when that's disappeared, and it disappeared fast, I mean, within 2 or 3 months, it was gone. And I had to go down to Mexico, and there was just like the pharmacy shelves were empty. There was nothing there. And then there was just all this fake shit. And that's when I got the idea to make my own lab in Mexico, because there was nothing. And as soon as I did, because the market was so dry at that time, my shit just blew up. We just blew up literally. I went down there with $10,000, and in 1 year it turned into $3 million in 1 year. I mean, we're shipping $100,000 weeks. It just because we were one of the few people that actually had real stuff. And that's really when I think I was one of the first one that really started bringing raws in from China and like running a UG. I think there was a few other people, but I was at that time, there was a few other labs. So then after Raw Deal went down and they took us out, again, there was a shortage because they shut down all the labs. So there was a shortage for a while, No, I'm not going back to Mexico for a vacation. No.
Maybe that's gonna happen again with the shortage. Yeah, we'll see.
No,
or like you said, that people don't realize there's a shortage because there's going to be so much fake, and then they're going to realize.
They're going to realize that it's fake pretty quick, because people are going to start taking the fake shit, and they're going to get abscesses and sick. Because when people make fake shit, usually they don't bother to filter it and sterilize it and put benzyl alcohol and all that stuff. They just throw some shit in a bottle.
Wow.
And people will know that it's fake because you'll take it and nothing will happen. So you'll know pretty fast that hey, my gear is fake because nothing's working. There's stuff coming from India, and you can still get raws from India, but the raws coming from India are kind of suspect. They're not guaranteed. The quality is not guaranteed, and you're not guaranteed like that you're going to get what you like from China. Like right now from China, well, not right now, but I mean, when we were getting raws from China, you could be pretty much. I used to get my raws and send them to a lab to have it tested, and everything was always 100% on the money. It was exactly what they said it was. There was no bullshit.
Interesting.
But from India, I've heard it's pretty suspect. You can order raws and you might get something and it might be something else, or it might be nothing.
They fake everything. They fake a protein powder there. I just said
I've actually
it was Dennis James, and he said that he just got a call from China that they were faking his protein powder there, and he should make a video about it and explain how you can see that it's not his bottle and stuff.
There's a company that ships from India supposedly pharmaceutical grade stuff that's like not UG but pharmaceutical. And I bought from them a few years ago the anti-estrogen, Aromasin. This stuff came in a hologram bottle, and everything was like,
it's still fake.
It was everything like hologram with a seal, and it was a pharmaceutical company, and the whole fucking, it looked perfect. Actually, I still have several bottles of it. But anyways, I was taking it and things were not going right. Just put it that way. I go get my blood test and my estrogen is like fucking through the roof. And I'm like, oh, I must have fake Aromasin. This can't be real. So I get some new Aromasin from my guy who I have now. Overnight was like, boom, it dropped my estrogen. So I had fake Aromasin from India coming in from a pharmaceutical company, supposedly. And I contacted them and I said, hey, you guys sold me a bunch of fake Aromasin. They didn't even answer me back. They just acted like they didn't get my messages or something. Interesting though, when you want to buy something, then they're right on you,
Yeah, of course.
But you complain and they don't know who you are. They don't answer the phone. So anyways, that's what's happening right now. There's always going to be a supply. So there's always going to be demand. Whenever there's a demand, somebody's going to fill the supply somehow, but it may not be anytime soon. What I mean is if China stops supplying, and I don't know what the political reasons for them doing this, maybe it's got to do with the fentanyl. Maybe it's because of something to do with the tariffs were put on, whatever their reasoning is, they're not putting it out there. There's no other big manufacturers that make raws. And this is not for just the steroid market. This is for like pharmaceuticals that you buy at CVS. Your testosterone prescription that you buy for CVS, that raw material is coming from China. So this is not just going to affect, us here. This is affecting like everything as far as these certain types of raws. I'm not sure what their reason for it is, but they must have some reason politically or whatever. They just decided to stop shipping the raws.
I just wonder why we don't make them.
Because we don't have the ability to. We don't have.
So hard.
Yeah, you need a big menu. Look, testosterone, the raw ingredient, they extract it from Mexican wild yams. This is not just simple compounding like what we do. Like we do, we get the raws, they're already made in a crystallized form, and then we put it in solution or make it into a tablet and filter it and all this shit. They're actually taking a Mexican wild yams and getting testosterone out of them. So they have these big manufacturing facilities that are able with the equipment and people that are able to do this. And nowhere else in the world is doing this. And the reason I say it's not so easy is because guarantee if it was, other countries would be doing it. But why is China the only one? They supply the whole world with these pharmaceuticals. No one else does it.
Yeah.
Now, maybe no one else has tried to do it because the cost is so expensive that to build one of these plants and to do this, and China's selling it for so cheap that it just made no sense for anybody to do it. So maybe somebody will step up there and actually build a factory to start producing raw materials, which is something
Yeah.
we probably should have done. You know, a friend of mine that lives in Canada, and they've been talking about doing this for Canada for a long time. But so far, it's just been talk. No one's actually gone and built one of these places. Yeah, Germany made the first test back in the day, but again, it's not the mass production like you have today.
Yeah.
This is like simple, like not anything like what you have today, where they're making, you know, thousands of kilos full of this sort of thing. So right now, like China's where it's at, and if China stops shipping, then it's gonna be a minute. There's gonna be a minute of where stuff's gonna get really hard to get, and that's just the way it is. And
I wonder how many of our viewers now are going to be like ordering right as they watch. They're all stocking up.
I told all my guys that are prepping for this summer, get your shit right now, because you don't want to be in the middle of your prep and not be able to get anything.
That's funny.
Because it can happen just like that.
Sad, but you know.
It could be right in the middle of your prep, and either you can't get anything or whatever you're getting is fake.
Thank God I'm a natural bodybuilder. I don't need all this. I'm so blessed.
But
yeah,
that's what's going on, and it will affect things, guaranteed. It's
It'll
gonna.
be,
I think. I've even heard of top pros, and I find this like really weird. But even top pros have been getting fake shit, which to me that just didn't seem real. But I guess it is. You know, if you don't have the right connections.
yeah.
But
Like, wasn't that what Nick Walker might have had?
I know that's what they claimed, that he was getting some fake shit. I at the time I was like, that's just so stupid. With everything, I mean, with the real stuff, you know, even if you got fake shit and you're a top pro, like if I take fake stuff for a week, I'm gonna know.
Yeah.
I would know. Like I would know. Like, okay, I just took like 3 shots in the last week, and I'm not feeling it. I would know.
Yeah, but dude, people are very different, and when you're in a prep, you might feel like shit anyways, and you'll be like, feel like maybe I just needed more rest. I was overstressed. I think it could. I think dude, it can happen for like 2 weeks or so. Longer than that, I doubt it. But
yeah,
and then maybe you have some stuff in that's still kind of working. So basically, your dose is just lower and it's coming down. And once you realize it, like then it's like already pretty late, because you know that's when your levels are really down. I don't know. It's it depends on many circumstances. Like when someone runs EQ and he, for example, and tests or so, just an example, and then he keeps running it, but now it's turning fake. How fast are you gonna really realize that? I don't know. If you're in a diet.
Look, I know me myself. I usually use faster acting gear, like NPP and test probe, and I would know fast.
Yeah,
like,
with that you will know faster. But also it could be maybe half of his stuff was fake, and he just found out half was fake. You know, so he didn't feel like total crap. He felt like, well, I'm definitely not off, but you know, what's going on? Like I'm not that great. And you could also think like, oh, maybe I'm a little sick. Maybe I have some virus in me. Maybe it's something else. You get some blood work. It's just so many things that you keep, so many reasons why you could feel bad. Other than that, it's I don't know. I don't know. But if you
someone
run
asked
very
me,
fast acting like you would. Yeah,
someone asked me what's my protocol, and like this is just for myself, and I'm not competing anymore. So all I think I take is test and NPP pretty much, and some a little bit of GH. But even that, I use a regular test cypionate that I get out of the pharmacy that I have a prescription for. And then I use a little bit of test probe in the NPP. I can tell you, I take that test probe and NPP, and I know when I take it or I don't. I can feel the difference like that day or in the next
probe
day.
is very, very fast acting. Probe is
yeah,
so
I take a shot of probe and I feel the little bit of aggression, and And the NPP, I feel it too, like right away. And I know when I don't take it, it's just, I know it's pretty freaking fast. Because I know how my body responds with or without it. It's so I don't know. I guess you could go a couple weeks and not know, but I think any top pro who's been using gear for a while, if they're taking fake stuff, they should probably know it pretty quick. That's what I would figure. I don't know. I can always tell if something's fake. You know?
Yeah, it's a little, like I said, a little circumstantial, but it shouldn't take you forever.
No.
You know. Yeah.
But anyways, that's what's going on right now, and it's for real. It's legit. I verified this through the people that I know, and trust me, the people that I know. So 100% the bust of the last 3 well-known manufacturers in China were taken down by their own governments for producing fentanyl. That's probably, maybe that's, someone just said the same manufacturers producing steroids were producing the fentanyl. And
maybe they cracked down on that, and then the whole thing got shut down. Yeah.
Yeah, they shut down the whole plant.
Yeah. So then Trump is indirectly to blame, because he was like Trump, because Trump was like, he was like, dude, you guys should stop getting the fentanyl in, otherwise we're gonna tariff you till the end of time, into oblivion, and which, like, totally correct, but he didn't know.
That would make sense.
He didn't know. Yeah. So if that's the connection, that sounds logical. Yeah.
That would make sense.
Where he got this information from, but I guess we can just Google. I can ask.
No, I tried. You can't Google this. I don't know. I tried searching it. I didn't find anything. I had to go through just people that I know who are connected directly to China.
Mm-hmm. No, I meant Google, meaning that the producers of the
fentanyl
are also doing the fentanyl.
I wouldn't be surprised, because probably to make fentanyl, you need a big manufacturing plant, the same kind of facility to do that as you need to make the steroids. And again, this is not like something you can do in your basement or your bathroom. This is something you need a legitimate factory to produce, with real chemists that know how to extract stuff from, like I said, Mexican wild yams or wherever the hell they get the shit from, and actually make it into pharmaceutical.
Okay, so I asked the AI from Twitter, Grok, there's some truth to the idea that the Chinese government has taken action against manufacturers involved in producing fentanyl precursors, and it's plausible that some of these companies also produce steroid raw materials, commonly called steroid raws. Though direct evidence tying specific shutdowns to both activities is limited and requires piecing together available data. Okay, there's a shit ton more, but Oh, okay. At least 3 named manufacturers, Hubei Aox, possibly Wuhan Minghui, and Henan Umeng, have been hit by China's government for fentanyl precursors, meeting the well-known threshold due to U.S. indictments and media coverage. While not every shutdown explicitly ties them to steroid raws, the nature of China's chemical industry, where firms produce a range of intermediates, including steroids, makes it likely that some did. No single public document says these 3 make both, but the pattern fits. Versatile chemical plants busted for precursors often supply the steroid black market too. Alrighty.
So there you got it.
So it sounds legit. So they're mass producing basically everything chemically on the planet. Mm-hmm. And then when they got shut down, all kinds of other things get. So there's probably even way more that's affected. Maybe some cancer drugs gonna. Who knows?
There's going to be a shortage of your regular stuff that you get out of the pharmacy, prescriptions.
Yeah,
guarantee you. Your regular prescriptions are going to be hard to get.
Crazy shit.
Even your prescription testosterone might be hard to get.
Yeah. We got to get healthy by ourselves, it seems.
Well, yeah, I don't know what you guys, but like I said, I recommended to my guys, get your summer preps right now. I mean, if it was for me, I would stock up for the rest of the year, maybe even to next year, because you don't guarantee you minimum prices are going to double and triple. And if you can even get anything real. And I know most of you guys haven't lived through it, but trust me, I have been there where we were using the cattle plant implants, and this went on for a couple of years, where we were using the cattle plant implants to like make testosterone and make trenbolone, and like that's all we had, other than whatever stock was left from behind, which wasn't much, because no one saw that coming. No one saw that coming, and no one saw this coming either. I don't know of any other podcasts. They talked about Primobolan, but I don't think they went to if they know about it, they haven't mentioned it. But I looked into it because as soon as I did, I made phone calls and started talking to people and seeing, who I know. So that's where it's at right now.
Oh, yeah.
So I guarantee you this is going to affect the bodybuilding industry in a major way. Because whether you realize it or not, everybody from bikini to, open pro, most of them are using some sort of gear for their preps and everything else. And it'll be interesting to see if it affects the quality of the physiques. I imagine it will on the lower levels for sure. For sure. Yeah. On the pro level, I'm not sure. Maybe the pros get the heads up and they stock up. I mean, if I was a top pro right now, I'd be buying my next 5 years worth of gear right now. If I could know it was legit.
Crazy. 5 years.
I mean, okay. Could you imagine being a pro competing and you don't have what you need to get ready for your prep?
That sucks, Good thing is I don't need much. That's a good thing.
You're lucky in that way. Yeah. I know most people though, trying to get through their preps without their gear source. Good luck. I mean, good luck with that. It's going to be tough. True. So that's the news that we have for today. I think that pretty much wraps it up.
Yeah, man, it was very informative, I think, for everyone. Unfortunately, we didn't get that many questions, but guys, text us, text Larry on Underground Performance or Hellboy LA on Instagram. Questions for our next podcast, so we can get into more topics that you actually also want to hear about. Maybe something else than just what's going on. Maybe some more educational stuff too, on prep, on gear, on whatever. Nutrition, training. We don't talk much about that. We can answer all your questions, and subscribe to the channel, please, and so that you don't miss any episode. Click the bell, because then you get notified whenever we're on. And also support us on Instagram, TikTok, wherever you can find us, and watch the Overcome podcast too.
All right, that's a wrap, guys.
Pleasure, Larry. Have a good one.
Hold on 1 second. Not yet.
Of course.
I believe that the fires were cast upon, on the flames we shall become. I believe in a common calling where our temples